Kylian Mbappé Lottin, born the 20th of December 1998, is a French professional footballer who plays as a forward for La Liga club Real Madrid and captains the France national team. He is widely regarded as one of the best players in the world, known for his pace, dribbling, and clinical finishing. Born in Paris and raised in nearby Bondy, Mbappé began his senior club career in 2015 with Monaco, where he won the Ligue 1 title in the 2016-17 season. In 2017, aged 18, Mbappé signed for Paris Saint-Germain on an eventual permanent transfer worth €180 million, making him the second most expensive player and most expensive teenage player of all time. With PSG, he won 6 Ligue 1 titles and 4 Coupes de France, including a domestic quadruple in the 2019-20 season, while also leading the club to its first ever UEFA Champions League final in 2020. He is the club's all-time top goal scorer, ranks 3rd in assists, and is the 7th highest goal scorer in Ligue 1 history. In 2024, after several years of speculation, Mbappé joined Real Madrid on a free transfer. He won the UEFA Super Cup and the FIFA Intercontinental Cup in the first half of his debut season, scoring in both finals. Breaking the record for the most goals scored by a Real Madrid player in their debut season, he also won the Pichichi Trophy and his first European Golden Shoe. At international level, Mbappé made his senior debut for France in 2017 at the age of 18. At the 2018 FIFA World Cup, Mbappé became the youngest French player to score at a World Cup, as well as the second teenager, after Pelé, to score in a World Cup final. He finished as the joint second highest goal scorer as France won the tournament. He went on to win the FIFA World Cup Best Young Player and French Player of the Year awards for his performances. He also helped France to victory in the UEFA Nations League in 2021, receiving the top scorer award in the finals. At the 2022 FIFA World Cup, France reached the final again. Mbappé won the Golden Boot and Silver Ball and set the record for the most goals scored in World Cup final matches by scoring a hat-trick. Mbappé is one of only 2 players to have scored in 2 consecutive World Cup finals, the other being Brazil's Vava in 1958 and 1962. Mbappé finished in 3rd place for the 2023 Ballon d'Or and was runner-up for the 2022 The Best FIFA Men's Player Award. He was named in the FIFA FIF Pro World 11 in 2018, 2019, 2022, 2023, 2024, and 2025, the UEFA Team of the Year in 2018, and the UEFA Champions League Squad of the Season in 2016-17, 2019-20, 2020-21, and 2021-22. He was awarded the Golden Boy in 2017, the Copa Trophy in 2018, and was shortlisted for the Laureus World Sportsman of the Year in 2019 and 2023. Mbappé has been named Ligue 1 Player of the Year a record 5 times and has finished as the Ligue 1 top scorer for a record 6 seasons. In the 2021-22 season, he became the first player to finish as both Ligue 1 top scorer and top assist provider. Mbappé was named as one of the Times 100 most influential people in the world in 2023 and was listed by Forbes as one of the world's 10 highest-paid athletes in 2023 and 2024. Early-life Kylian Mbappé Lottin was born on the 20th of December 1998 in the 19th arrondissement of Paris and was raised in Bondy, Seine-Saint-Denis, in the northeastern suburbs of Paris. His father, Wilfried Mbappé, is a football coach and is originally from the Cameroonian island of Jebale, which is home to the Sawa people. His mother and agent, Faiza Lamari, is of Algerian Kabyle origin and is a former handball player. He has a younger brother, Ethan, who plays for Lille. Their older adoptive brother, Jairz Kembo Ekoko, is a former professional footballer. As a child, Mbappé went to a private Catholic school in Bondy, where he was considered academically gifted but unruly. At 15, he began taking Spanish lessons and eventually became fluent in the language. Among Mbappe's idols growing up were Zinedine Zidane, Cristiano Ronaldo, Neymar, Ronaldinho, Lionel Messi, Ronaldo Nazario, Eden Hazard, and Thierry Henry. As a child, Mbappe received Robinho's AC Milan shirt as a gift from his nanny's family, who were Italians and supporters of the club. However, his own favorite team had always been Real Madrid. In May 2024, just days before his transfer to Real Madrid was announced, Mbappe mentioned that he still follows Serie A and AC Milan and would like to play for the Rossoneri if he is ever to move to Italy in the future. Club career. Early career. Mbappe was coached by his father, Wilfred, when he started his career with AS Bondi. Another of his youth coaches at AS Bondi, Antonio Riccardi, stated, "The first time I coached him was when he was 6 years old. You could tell he was different. Kylian could do much more than the other children. His dribbling was already fantastic, and he was much faster than the others. He was the best player I've ever seen in 15 years coaching here. In Paris, there are many talents, but I'd never seen a talent like him. He was what we call a crack, the best." Eventually, Mbappe moved to the Clairefontaine Academy, putting in a host of impressive performances leading to numerous French clubs and Real Madrid, Chelsea, Liverpool, Manchester City, and Bayern Munich attempting to sign him. At the age of 11, Real Madrid invited him to train with their under-12s and visit the club's facilities. Mbappe was tracked by Cannes for 3 years, but their relegation from Ligue 1 in 2012 and subsequent failure to win promotion meant that they could not afford his signature. At age 14, he traveled to London after an invite from Chelsea, playing a match for their youth team against Charlton Athletic. Monaco. In July 2013, at the age of 14, Mbappe joined the Youth Academy of Monaco, signing a 3-year contract. The club beat competition from Real Madrid and Zinedine Zidane, who was very involved in efforts to sign him. 2015 to 2017. Breakthrough and league title. In October 2015, Mbappe was brought in by Leonardo Jardim to be a mainstay in Monaco's reserve team, but his level of skill and maturity prompted his promotion to the main squad after just 3 weeks. He made his first team debut 2 months later, on the 2nd of December 2015, in a 1-1 League One home draw against Cannes, replacing Fabio Coentrão after 88 minutes. Mbappe therefore became Monaco's youngest ever first-team player, aged 16 years and 347 days, breaking the previous record set by Thierry Henry in 1994. On the 20th of February 2016, Mbappe scored his first goal for the club's first team, a stoppage-time goal in a 3-1 league win over Troyes at the Stade Louis II. At the age of 17 years and 62 days, he became the youngest first-team goal scorer in Monaco's history, once again displacing Henry in the process. On the 6th of March 2016, Mbappe signed his first professional contract, a 3-year deal, tying him to Monaco until June 2019. In an interview, fellow cast member Kristen Stewart talked about Lottin's transformation, saying, "He's an entirely different person physically." In describing the critical consensus, it stated, "Having lost much of its bite transitioning to the big screen, Twilight will please its devoted fans, but do little for the uninitiated." On the 11th of February 2017, Mbappe scored the first League One hat-trick of his career in a 5-0 home win over Metz. At 18 years and 2 months, he became the youngest player to score a league hat-trick since Jérémy Menez did so for Sochaux back in 2005. On the 21st of February, Mbappe scored Monaco's second goal in the 40th minute of a 5-3 loss away to Manchester City in the UEFA Champions League round of 16. It was his first European competition goal, and he became the second youngest French scorer in Champions League history, behind only Karim Benzema. On the 5th of March, Mbappe scored 2 first-half goals in a 4-0 home win over Nantes to bring his League One career tally to 10 goals, becoming the youngest player in the previous 30 years to reach the 10-goal mark in the league. On the 11th of March, he scored a goal in a 2-1 home win over Bordeaux, registering his 7th goal in his previous 4 league starts. On the 15th of March 2017, Mbappé scored Monaco's opening goal in the second leg of the Champions League round of 16 tie with Manchester City. Monaco went on to win 3-1, and with the aggregate score being tied 6-6, advanced to the quarterfinals thanks to the away goals rule. In the quarterfinals against Borussia Dortmund, Mbappé won a penalty and scored 2 goals as Monaco won the first leg 3-2 at the Westfalenstadion. In the second leg at home, he opened the scoring as Monaco won 3-1 and advanced to the semifinals. They were eventually eliminated from the Champions League following a 4-1 loss on aggregate to Juventus, with Mbappé scoring his team's lone goal in the second leg. Mbappé ended the 2016-17 season with 26 goals from 44 matches in all competitions, as Monaco won the Ligue 1 title. He credited fellow Monaco striker Radamel Falcao as a key influence on him throughout the season, giving him the space to express himself and teaching him to be calm and serene during the game. Paris Saint-Germain 2017-2020, record transfer and immediate success. On the 31st of August 2017, Paris Saint-Germain, PSG, announced the signing of Mbappé from Monaco on loan with a mandatory purchase option of €180 million. According to PSG's assistant sporting director, Luis Ferrer, the shift in Mbappé's decision to join the club was partly thanks to a convincing speech given by manager Unai Emery at the Mbappé's home over the summer. The €180 million fee made Mbappé the most expensive teenager ever and the second most expensive player ever behind teammate Neymar, and broke the record for the largest transfer within a domestic league. He was handed the number 29 shirt upon arrival in the French capital. On the 8th of September 2017, Mbappé made his PSG debut in a 5-1 Ligue 1 win away at Metz, scoring a goal. 4 days later, he recorded his first European goal for the club in a 5-0 UEFA Champions League group stage away defeat of Celtic. He starred in PSG's 3-0 victory over Bayern Munich in the second group game of the Champions League, setting up goals for Edinson Cavani and Neymar, the latter seeing him taking out a defender with a feint by rolling the ball under his foot. On the 6th of December, Mbappé scored his 10th career Champions League goal in a 3-1 defeat to Bayern Munich, becoming the youngest player to reach that mark at the age of 18 years and 11 months. Having already won his first league title with the club, on the 8th of May 2018, Mbappé featured in PSG's 2-0 win over Les Herbiers in the Coupe de France final. In July 2018, Mbappé was given the number 7 jersey for the upcoming season with PSG, taking up the squad number left vacant by Lucas Moura. Sporting the hashtag #K7Leon, Mbappé stated, "I keep trying to progress on the pitch, and I think that, for me, it was the right time to change number. It is something of an affirmation. The number 7 shirt is a legendary one, and many greats have worn it. I hope that I will be able to do this number justice on the pitch." In his first appearance of the season, Mbappé scored twice in the last 10 minutes as PSG won 3-1 against Guingamp in Ligue 1. In the following league game, the front three of Mbappé, Cavani, and Neymar all scored in a 3-1 win over Angers at home, with Mbappé, starting his first game of the season, scoring from a volley and setting up Neymar to score the third. On the 1st of September, he scored and assisted in a 4-2 away win over Nimes, but was sent off for the first time in his career with a straight red card in injury time, after shoving Teji Savanier in retaliation for a late challenge from behind, for which Savanier was also sent off. Regarding his sending off, Mbappé told reporters after the match, "If I had the chance to do it over again, I would do the same thing. I will apologize to the supporters and everybody, but I cannot tolerate this sort of thing." On the 8th of October, Mbappé scored 4 goals in just 13 minutes in a 5-0 home victory over Lyon and became the youngest player, at 19 years and 9 months, to score 4 goals in one game in Ligue 1 over the last 45 seasons. On the 3rd of December, Mbappé was the inaugural winner of the Copa Trophy, which is awarded by France Football to the best under-21 player in the world. On the 19th of January 2019, Mbappé was one of two players, the other being Cavani, to score a hat-trick in a 9-0 win over Guingamp, breaking a record PSG had set the previous season. On the 12th of February, he scored a goal in a 2-0 win over Manchester United at Old Trafford in the Champions League round of 16. On the 2nd of March, he scored twice in a 2-1 away win over Cannes to reach his 50th goal with the club. On the 6th of March, PSG lost 3-1 at home against Manchester United and was subsequently knocked out from the Champions League on the away goals rule. On the 21st of April, he scored a hat-trick in a 3-1 win against Monaco, netting his first goals against his former club. PSG finished the season as Ligue 1 champions, with Mbappé winning the Player of the Year award while also finishing the season as the top goalscorer with 33 goals. On the 3rd of August 2019, Mbappé scored in a 2-1 win over Rennes to capture his first title of the 2019-20 season, the Trophée des Champions. He then scored again in PSG's opening Ligue 1 match of the season, a 3-0 home win over Nimes on the 11th of August. On the 22nd of October, he came off the bench and scored a perfect hat-trick in a 5-0 away win over Belgian side Club Brugge in the Champions League. At the age of 20 years and 306 days, he became the youngest player ever to score at least 15 goals in the competition. On the 1st of May 2020, PSG were crowned Ligue 1 champions after the season had been called off amid the COVID-19 pandemic. At the time of the league's premature suspension, PSG were in first place, with a 12-point lead over second-placed Marseille. Mbappé finished the 2019-20 season as joint top scorer in Ligue 1 with 18 goals, along with Monaco's Wissam Ben Yedder. However, Mbappé was assigned the title due to his higher goals-per-game ratio. On the 24th of July, in the Coupe de France final against Saint-Étienne, Mbappé was forced off after sustaining an injury following a challenge from Loic Perrin, who was sent off. PSG won the match 1-0, although Mbappé was ruled out of the Coupe de la Ligue final, which PSG went on to win, completing a domestic treble. He returned to action in the Champions League quarterfinal against Atalanta on the 12th of August, coming on a substitute and assisting Eric-Maxime Choupo-Moting's match-winning goal in injury time. PSG eventually suffered a 1-0 loss to Bayern Munich in the Champions League final on the 23rd of August. 2020 to 2022, further triumphs and contract extension. Mbappé missed the first 3 matches of the season after contracting COVID-19 while being on international duty. He returned to action on the 20th of September 2020 in a 3-0 away win against Nice and scored a goal from a penalty kick. On the 28th of October, Mbappé recorded 2 assists, both for Moise Kean, in a 2-0 Champions League group stage victory against Istanbul Başakşehir. In doing so, he became the player with the most assists in the competition since the beginning of the 2017-18 edition, with his tally adding up to 14 over the 4 seasons. In a Ligue 1 match against Montpellier on the 5th of December, Mbappé scored his 100th goal for PSG, becoming only the 5th player to achieve the feat for the Parisian club. In his side's final Champions League group match, Mbappé scored his first 2 goals of the European campaign against Başakşehir, as PSG won 5-1 and qualified for the knockout phase as group winners. He also became the youngest player in Champions League history to reach 20 goals, although this record would then be surpassed by Erling Haaland later on in the same season. On the 16th of February 2021, Mbappé became only the 3rd player after Faustino Asprilla and Andriy Shevchenko to score a Champions League hat-trick against Barcelona, doing so in PSG's 4-1 round of 16 win at the Camp Nou. Mbappé's hat-trick also saw him overtake Pauletta's total of 109 goals to become PSG's 3rd highest scorer, with only Cavani, 200 goals, and Zlatan Ibrahimovic, 156 goals, getting more for the club. On the 27th of February, he scored 2 goals in a 4-0 away win against Dijon, becoming the first player to score 5 braces in the Ligue 1 season. In the second leg against Barcelona on the 10th of March, Mbappé scored from the spot in a 1-1 draw at the Parc des Princes as his side advanced to the quarterfinals 5-2 on aggregate. Mbappé's penalty was his 25th Champions League goal, surpassing opponent Lionel Messi as the youngest player to reach this milestone at 22 years and 80 days. Adding to his hat-trick from the first leg, Mbappé additionally became the first player to score 4 goals against Barcelona in a single Champions League season. In the first leg of the Champions League quarterfinal against Bayern Munich on the 7th of April, Mbappé scored 2 goals, helping his team to a 3-2 win at the Allianz Arena, PSG's first victory in Munich since 1994. The French club later progressed to the semi-finals to be eventually eliminated by Manchester City. The forward missed the second leg due to a calf injury. On the 19th of May, Mbappé scored once and assisted the second in the Coupe de France final against his former club Monaco, as PSG won 2-0 to claim their first major trophy of the season. He ended the Ligue 1 campaign with 27 goals, becoming the top scorer for the 3rd consecutive season, although PSG missed out on the Ligue 1 title. It was the first time in Mbappé's career where he did not win the league after 4 consecutive successes. Mbappé ended the season by receiving the Ligue 1 Player of the Year award and being included in the Ligue 1 Team of the Season. On the 14th of August 2021, prior to Paris Saint-Germain's opening home match of the 2021-22 season against Strasbourg, Mbappé was booed by the Parc des Princes amidst rumors that he wanted to sign for Spanish club Real Madrid. The match ended in a 4-2 victory for the Parisians, with the forward setting up 3 of his team's goals. He scored his first goal of the season in a 4-2 away win against Brest 6 days later. In the following match against Reims on the 29th of August, in which Lionel Messi notably made his debut for PSG, Mbappé scored a brace in a 2-0 Rouge et Bleu victory. On the 24th of November, he scored in a 2-1 Champions League defeat to Manchester City at the City of Manchester Stadium. On the 7th of December, he scored 2 goals in a 4-1 Champions League home win over Club Brugge. The goals, which were his 30th and 31st in the Champions League, made him the youngest player to reach this milestone in the history of the competition. On the 12th of December 2021, Mbappé scored his 100th Ligue 1 goal for PSG in a 4-0 home victory over Saint-Étienne. At 22 years and 357 days old, he became the youngest player to score 100 goals for a single team in the French top flight since Opta began recording data in the 1951 season. On the 3rd of January 2022, Mbappé scored his first hat-trick of the season in a 4-0 Coupe de France win over Vannes. On the 11th of February, he scored the winning goal in stoppage time in a 1-0 league win over Rennes, a feat he repeated 4 days later in a 1-0 Champions League victory over Real Madrid in the first leg of the round of 16. He scored another goal in the second leg, making him the second highest goal scorer in Paris Saint-Germain's history. However, his team was knocked out following a 3-1 defeat at the Santiago Bernabeu. On the 21st of May 2022, Mbappé extended his contract with PSG until 2025, despite speculations of a possible transfer to Real Madrid, which prompted La Liga officials to file a complaint to UEFA regarding accumulating losses of PSG in the previous years. Mbappé himself reportedly called and spoke to Real Madrid's president Florentino Perez, telling him that he would not be signing for Real Madrid. According to Sky Sports, the financial details of Mbappé's contract included a monthly wage of £4 million, making him the highest-paid player in the world. Mbappé and PSG also reportedly secured a signing-on figure in the region of £100 million. In the hours following the forward's contract extension, he scored a hat-trick in a 5-0 win over Metz, to finish the season with 28 goals as top scorer for the 4th consecutive season. He became the 3rd player to finish as Ligue 1's top scorer for 4 seasons in a row. Mbappé also provided 17 assists in the season, becoming the first player to finish as both top scorer and top assist provider in the league's history. 2022 to 2024. All-time club goalscorer and final season's Mbappé. Right, celebrating a goal with PSG teammates Messi, left, and Neymar, middle. On the 13th of August 2022, Mbappé scored his first goal of the season for PSG in a 5-2 home victory over Montpellier after having missed a penalty earlier in the match. 8 days later, he scored his first hat-trick of the season in a 7-1 away win over Lille. His first goal in the match was clocked at 8 seconds, making it the second fastest goal ever scored in Ligue 1 history, tenths of seconds later than Michel Rio's goal for Caen against Caen in 1992. On the 6th of September, he scored a brace in PSG's opening Champions League fixture against Juventus, securing a 2-1 home victory for the Parisians. On the 11th of October, he scored a penalty in a 1-1 Champions League draw at home to Benfica, becoming the leading goal scorer for PSG in European competitions with 31 goals. However, the match was played in the backdrop of media reports that Mbappé wanted to leave PSG in the January transfer window, rumors which he denied, saying, "I'm very happy. I never asked for my departure in January." On the 23rd of January 2023, Mbappé became the first PSG player to score 5 goals in a match, including a 10-minute hat-trick in a 7-0 rout of Pays de Cassel in the Coupe de France round of 32. On the 26th of February, he scored 2 goals and assisted another as PSG defeated Marseille 3-0 in Le Classique. He thus became the club's joint all-time top goal scorer with 200 goals, equalizing Edison Cavani's record. In the following match, a 4-2 win over Nantes, he scored his 201st goal for PSG, taking the throne as the club's leading scorer. He ended the Ligue 1 campaign with 29 goals to become the top scorer for the 5th consecutive season as PSG won their record 11th Ligue 1 title. The forward also ended the season by receiving the Ligue 1 Player of the Year award for the 4th consecutive season and featuring in the Ligue 1 Team of the Season. On the 13th of June 2023, via an official statement released through Agence France-Presse, Mbappé announced his decision not to renew his contract with PSG, which was set to expire in June 2024. According to him, the club had been informed about his decision since the 15th of July 2022. In response to an article published by Le Parisien about his reported desire to join Real Madrid in the upcoming summer window, Mbappé tweeted that the rumors were lies, reaffirming his intention to continue at PSG next season, where he is very happy. However, during the unveiling of new manager Luis Enrique on the 5th of July 2023, PSG president Nasser El-Khelaifi clarified the club's stance on Mbappé, stating that if he wants to stay, he needs to sign a new contract. On the 21st of July, Mbappé was excluded from PSG's preseason tour in Japan. After much speculation surrounding his future at Paris Saint-Germain, a statement from the club on the 13th of August 2023 confirmed Mbappé's reintegration into the first team. This followed constructive and positive discussions between the player and the club ahead of their season opener against Lorient. Mbappé eventually made his first appearance of the 2023-24 season in a 1-1 draw away to Toulouse on the 19th of August, scoring the game's only goal and PSG's first of the season. On the 26th of August, he scored his first 2 league goals of the season in a 3-1 win over Lens. On the 19th of September, he scored PSG's first Champions League goal of the season in a 2-0 win over Borussia Dortmund. He scored the opening goal in a 3-0 win over AC Milan on matchday 3 of the competition on the 25th of October. On the 11th of November, Mbappé scored his first hat-trick of the season in a 3-0 win over Reims, lifting PSG to the top of the Ligue 1 table. On the 28th of November, he scored a penalty 8 minutes into stoppage time to salvage a 1-1 draw against Newcastle United and keep PSG in the Champions League, which proved to be crucial for the club as they qualified to the knockout stages following a 1-1 away draw against Borussia Dortmund on the 13th of December. On the 3rd of January 2024, Mbappé scored the second goal in a 2-0 victory over Toulouse in the 2023 Trophée des Champions, securing his first trophy of the season. In the process, Mbappé became the all-time top goal scorer at the Parc des Princes, with his 111th goal surpassing Edinson Cavani's scoring record. On the 7th of January 2024, Mbappé scored his first hat-trick of the year in a 9-0 thrashing of Revel in the round of 64 of the Coupe de France, becoming the club's all-time top scorer in the competition by bringing his goal tally to 30. On the 15th of February, it was reported in the media that Mbappé had informed PSG that he intended to leave the club upon expiration of his contract in June 2024. On the 5th of March, he scored a brace in a 2-1 win away to Real Sociedad in the round of 16 of the Champions League, securing PSG's qualification to the quarterfinals for the first time since the 2020-21 season. Mbappé scored his second hat-trick of the regular season and his first of the year on the 19th of March in a 6-2 win away at Montpellier, taking him to 250 goals in all competitions for PSG. On the 16th of April, he scored 2 goals in a 4-1 away win over Barcelona to help PSG qualify for the Champions League semi-finals after having lost the first leg 3-2 at the Parc des Princes. In the semi-finals, PSG was knocked out by Borussia Dortmund after losing 2-0 on aggregate. On the 10th of May 2024, Mbappé announced via his social media that he would depart Paris Saint-Germain at the end of the season, stating he would not renew his contract, marking the end of his career at the club. On the 12th of May, he played his last match at the Parc des Princes as a PSG player, scoring a goal in a 3-1 loss to Toulouse. He played his final match for the club on the 25th of May, featuring in the entirety of PSG's Coupe de France final victory over Lyon, securing his last title with the club. Additionally, he concluded his final season with PSG as the Champions League top scorer with 8 goals, along with Harry Kane. Real Madrid. On the 3rd of June 2024, La Liga club Real Madrid announced that Mbappé had signed a 5-year contract with the club 2 days after the club's triumph against Borussia Dortmund in the 2024 UEFA Champions League final, concluding a highly anticipated 7-year transfer saga. After signing, he stated, "It's a dream come true. So happy and proud to join the club of my dreams. Nobody can understand how excited I am right now." On the 10th of July, Real Madrid announced that Mbappé's presentation would be held at the Santiago Bernabéu on the 16th of July. Later that day, he received the number 9 shirt, becoming the first Real Madrid player to wear this number since compatriot Karim Benzema. On the 16th of July, Mbappé was unveiled as a new Real Madrid player at the Santiago Bernabéu. His presentation was attended by 80,000 spectators, the same number as Cristiano Ronaldo's presentation in 2009, 2024-2025. Debut season goal-scoring records and European Golden Shoe, Mbappé made his debut for Real Madrid on the 14th of August, 2024, in the 2024 UEFA Super Cup against Atalanta, scoring the second goal of a 2-0 win. He debuted in La Liga on the 18th of August during a match that ended in a 1-1 draw against Mallorca. On the 1st of September, Mbappé scored his first La Liga goals, netting both in Real Madrid's 2-0 victory against Real Betis. He opened the scoring in the 67th minute and added a second from the penalty spot 8 minutes later. On the 17th of September, Mbappé scored his first Champions League goal for Real Madrid, opening the scoring in their 3-1 victory over VfB Stuttgart during the inaugural matchday of the newly formatted Champions League phase. On the 10th of December, Mbappé scored his 50th Champions League goal in a 3-2 victory against Atalanta. On the 25th of January 2025, Mbappé scored his first hat-trick for Madrid, the third of which was a penalty, helping the team to get a 3-0 victory away at league opponents Real Valladolid. With 5 league goals in January, he was named La Liga Player of the Month. On the 19th of February, Mbappé recorded his first hat-trick for Madrid in the Champions League in a 3-1 win over Manchester City, marking his first at the Santiago Bernabeu, and secured the team's progression to the Champions League round of 16. On the 13th of April, he received his first red card with Madrid after making a highly controversial challenge on Antonio Blanco, which he was widely scrutinized for. On the 26th of April, he scored the first free-kick goal of his career in a 3-2 defeat to Barcelona in the Copa del Rey final. On the 11th of May, Mbappé scored a hat-trick in an El Clásico against Barcelona, breaking Real Madrid's goal-scoring record in El Clásico despite losing the match 4-3. This took him to 39 goals for Los Blancos, breaking Ivan Zamorano's 32-year record for most goals scored by a Real Madrid player in their debut season. In his next game, he netted the equalizer against Mallorca and became the first player ever to score 40 times for Madrid in a debut season. It was his 28th league goal of the season, meaning that he also broke Alfredo Di Stefano's 71-year-old record for most goals for the Bernabeu side in a debut season in La Liga. Mbappé finished his La Liga campaign with 31 goals in 34 games, winning the Pichichi Trophy and the European Golden Shoe for the first time in his career. On the 28th of May, he was named Real Madrid's Player of the Season. On the 19th of June, Real Madrid announced that Mbappé had been briefly hospitalized in the United States, but released the same day for acute gastroenteritis after he missed the opening match of the FIFA Club World Cup against Al Hilal and the first matches of Xabi Alonso's tenure as head coach of Real Madrid, and that he would gradually return to training. 2025-2026. 60 Champions League goals for the 2025-26 season, Mbappé switched to the number 10 shirt left vacant after Luka Modric's departure, with Endrick taking number 9. On the 16th of September, he netted his 49th and 50th goals for Los Blancos against Marseille in a 2-1 Champions League win, becoming the fastest player to achieve this feat for Madrid since Cristiano Ronaldo. On the 30th of September, Mbappé reached 60 Champions League goals with a hat-trick against Kairat, overtaking Thomas Müller to become the 6th highest scorer in the competition's history. Later that year, on the 26th of November, he scored 4 goals in a 4-3 away win over Olympiacos, including the second fastest hat-trick in the European competition, completed in just 6 minutes and 42 seconds, second only to Mohamed Salah. A month later, on the 20th of December, he converted a penalty in a 2-0 victory over Sevilla, equaling Cristiano Ronaldo's record of 59 goals in a calendar year for Real Madrid. International career 2014 to 2018. Youth level and senior debut. Mbappé playing for France in 2018. In July 2016, Mbappé scored 5 times for France as they won the 2016 UEFA European Under-19 Championship. His second-half brace in the 3-1 victory over Portugal in the semi-finals had helped his team reach the final. He was included in the competition's team of the tournament. Mbappé received his first call-up to the French senior squad to face Luxembourg and Spain in March 2017. He debuted on the 25th of March against the former opponent, coming on as a substitute to Dimitri Payet in the 78th minute of a 3-1-2-0-1 FIFA World Cup qualification away victory. On the 31st of August, Mbappé scored his first senior international goal in a 2018 World Cup qualification match against the Netherlands. He scored twice in a March 2018 friendly match against Russia. 2018 to 2021. FIFA World Cup triumph, Mbappé holding the World Cup trophy after France won the 2018 World Cup final. On the 17th of May 2018, Mbappé was called up to the France squad for the 2018 World Cup in Russia. On the 21st of June 2018, he scored his first World Cup goal in Les Bleus' 1-0 group stage win over Peru. This made him the youngest French goal scorer in World Cup history, aged 19. On the 30th of June 2018, he was named Man of the Match in a 4-3 win over Argentina in the round of 16, having won a penalty for his team and scored 2 goals. Mbappé was the second teenager to score 2 goals in a World Cup match after Pelé in 1958. In a post-match press conference, he stated, "It's flattering to be the second one after Pelé, but let's put things into context. Pelé is in another category." On the 15th of July, Mbappé scored with a 25-yard strike against Croatia in the 2018 World Cup final, with France gaining a 4-2 win. He became the second teenager after Pelé to score in a World Cup final. Moreover, having scored 4 goals in the tournament, he received the FIFA World Cup Best Young Player Award. Pelé congratulated him on social media, saying, quote, "Welcome to the club." On the 11th of June 2019, Mbappé scored his 100th career goal in a 4-0 away win over Andorra in Euro 2020 qualifying. On the 5th of September 2020, Mbappé scored the only goal for France in a 1-0 UEFA Nations League win against Sweden. However, 2 days after the game, he tested positive for COVID-19. He returned to play for France in a 7-1 victory against Ukraine on the 7th of October 2020, scoring a goal. 1 week later, he scored the match-winning goal in a 2-1 win against Croatia. France topped their Nations League group and qualified for the 2021 UEFA Nations League finals. UEFA Euro 2020 was postponed for a year because of the COVID-19 pandemic. On the 18th of May 2021, Mbappé was included in the France squad for UEFA Euro 2020, his second major international tournament. On the 15th of June, he scored a goal and assisted another one, both of which were later deemed to be offside in a group stage match against Germany. On the 28th of June, he provided the assist for Karim Benzema's first goal in France's match against Switzerland in the round of 16. After a 3-3 draw, the game went to a penalty shootout. Mbappé failed to score the decisive 5th penalty, and France were eliminated from the tournament. The forward failed to score in any of the 4 games France played in the competition. 2021 to 2023, Nations League title and second consecutive World Cup final. In the Nations League semifinal on the 7th of October 2021, Mbappé assisted Benzema and later scored a goal himself from the penalty spot to help France come from behind and defeat Belgium 3-2. In the process, he made his 50th appearance for Les Bleus at 22 years and 9.5 months old. 3 days later, in the final against Spain, he once again set up Benzema to tie the match and later scored the winning goal to give France a 2-1 victory and clinch their first title in the competition. With 2 goals and 2 assists in the Nations League finals, Mbappé was awarded the competition's Golden Boot, known as the Alipay Top Scorer Trophy. On the 13th of November, Mbappé scored his first goals in the 2022 World Cup qualifiers by finding the net 4 times in an 8-0 win over Kazakhstan, as France booked their place for the tournament's finals. His super hat-trick, which included a 32-minute first hat-trick, was his first one in an international match, as well as the first competitive hat-trick scored for France since Dominique Rocheteau in 1985. 3 days later, Mbappé scored and served his 5th assist for Benzema in a row in a 2-0 away win over Finland in the last World Cup qualifier. France kicked off their 2022 FIFA World Cup campaign in Qatar against Australia on the 22nd of November 2022. In the match, Mbappé was involved in 3 of France's goals in a 4-1 victory. He was in the build-up for the second goal, scored the third, a header from an Ousmane Dembélé cross, and assisted Olivier Giroud for the 4th goal. 4 days later, Mbappé scored both of France's goals in a 2-1 victory over Denmark, securing qualification to the knockout stages and thus breaking the World Cup champions' curse. In the knockout round of 16 against Poland, Mbappé scored 2 more goals, the first into the roof of the net from 16 yards, and the second being a curling strike into the top corner in a 3-1 win. After featuring in France's wins against England and Morocco, respectively, in the quarter and semi-finals, Mbappé became only the second player in history to score a hat-trick in a World Cup final, scoring 3 goals against Argentina in the 2022 World Cup final. The Albiceleste had a 2-0 lead with just over 10 minutes remaining, before the Frenchman scored twice in 2 minutes, the second being a volley after playing a 1-2 with Marcus Thuram. In extra time, Argentina would take the lead again thanks to Mbappe's PSG teammate Messi, before the forward scored a penalty to make it 3-3, at just 4 minutes from the end of extra time. The match went to a penalty shootout. Mbappe scored his penalty, but France lost following misses by Kingsley Coman and Aurélien Tchouameni. Mbappe secured the tournament's Golden Boot with 8 goals and became the 6th all-time top goal scorer in World Cup history with 12 goals, tied with Pelé. Having scored a goal in the 2018 final, Mbappe also became the outright top goal scorer in World Cup finals with 4 goals, and his hat-trick was the first in a men's final since Geoff Hurst for England in 1966. 2023 present. Captaincy, Euro semi-finals, and 400 career goals. On the 21st of March 2023, following the international retirement of Hugo Lloris, manager Didier Deschamps named Mbappe the new captain of France ahead of their UEFA Euro 2024 qualifying campaign. 3 days later, in his first match as captain, he led France to a 4-0 victory over the Netherlands by assisting Antoine Griezmann's goal and scoring a brace. On the 19th of June, Mbappe scored a penalty in a 1-0 win over Greece, his 40th goal for Les Bleus. On the same night, he also became the youngest player to make 70 appearances for France. On the 13th of October, Mbappe scored 2 goals for France in a 2-1 win over the Netherlands, securing qualification to UEFA Euro 2024. He also surpassed Michel Platini to become France's 4th all-time top scorer. On the 18th of November, Mbappe scored a hat-trick in a 14-0 victory over Gibraltar, France's largest ever victory. His third goal of the match, a long-range shot from 40 meters out, was his 300th career goal. He exceeded Griezmann as France's 3rd all-time top scorer, reaching 46 goals. In France's opening match of Euro 2024, a 1-0 win against Austria, Mbappe helped create the only goal of the match, an own goal, when his cross was deflected by Maximilian Wober into his own net. However, Mbappe later suffered a broken nose during the game, resulting in him being substituted and sidelined for the following fixture against the Netherlands. In the final group match against Poland, he scored his first goal ever at the European Championships from a penalty in a 1-1 draw, which saw France advance to the knockout stages after finishing second in their group behind Austria with 5 points. In the semifinals, he set up Randal Kolo Muani's opening goal in an eventual 2-1 defeat to Spain. Following the elimination from the tournament, in a post-match interview, Mbappe described his European Championship display as a failure. On the 8th of June 2025, Mbappe scored his 50th goal for Les Bleus, netting the winner in a 2-0 victory over Germany in the 2025 UEFA Nations League Finals third-place playoff. On the 5th of September 2025, Mbappe became France's joint 2nd all-time top goal scorer with Thierry Henry when scored his 51st goal for Les Bleus in a 2-0 victory over Ukraine in their first game of the 2026 FIFA World Cup qualification. 4 days later, Mbappe scored his 52nd international goal in a 2-1 victory over Iceland, overtaking Henry on the list. Mbappe scored twice in a 4-0 win against Ukraine on the 13th of November 2025, marking his 399th and 400th career goals and helping his country secure qualification for the 2026 FIFA World Cup. In doing so, he also became the youngest player to score 400 goals since Pelé in 1964. Player profile. Style of play. Mbappe's movement is often highlighted as one of his most important assets. A versatile forward, Mbappe often plays as a winger and is capable of playing on either flank due to his ability with both feet. He is capable of cutting into the center onto his stronger right foot from the left wing and of creating chances and providing assists for teammates from the right thanks to his vision. He is also able to play in the center as a main striker due to his composure, clinical finishing, and eye for goal. A skillful player, Mbappe is known for his dribbling ability as well as his acceleration, agility, quick feet, first touch, link-up play, and creativity when in possession of the ball, as demonstrated by his use of elaborate feints, such as step-overs, or sudden changes of pace or direction to beat opponents in one-on-one situations. He is highly regarded for his pace and close ball control when dribbling at speed, as well as his movement, tactical intelligence, and ability to beat the defensive line by making attacking runs into space both on and off the ball. His ability to time his runs enables him to stretch opposing defenses, making him a dangerous offensive threat on counterattacks. During the beginning of his career, Mbappé was compared to various greats in the history of football. He was described by Arsène Wenger as a huge football talent who has similar qualities to Thierry Henry. His talent and standout performances for France at the 2018 World Cup also led him to be compared to Pelé in the media. Former France international player Nicolas Anelka said that Mbappé's ability to run at defenses reminded him of Ronaldo's performances at the 1996 Olympics, and that Mbappé had the characteristics of a world-class player. Reception, widely regarded as the best player in the world since the decline of the Messi-Ronaldo dominance, Mbappé is generally viewed as one of the best players of his generation. His individual and collective achievements, as well as his precocious development, have drawn much appraisal. Former French international Rio Mavuba remarked that if Mbappé had won the 2022 World Cup, he'd probably be the best French player ever, further saying, "I love Zinedine Zidane, but imagine, 23 years old, 2 World Cups, he'd be the best." During that same World Cup, Fox Sports deemed Mbappé as already one of the World Cup's all-time greats and the best player in the world. Mbappé was named the fastest player in the world in a ranking by French newspaper Le Figaro. Central defender and Dutch international Stefan de Vrij cited the Frenchman as his toughest opponent ahead of anyone else. In 2018, the forward was considered the world's most expensive player from a transfer value perspective by the CIES. His performances for his club and national team have seen him shortlisted for the Laureus World Sportsman of the Year in 2019 and 2023. Personal life, Mbappé is a practicing Christian. In a 2018 interview with Time, he spoke about the sacrifices he made as a teenager to focus on his football development. "I did not have the moments of so-called normal people during adolescence, like going out with friends, enjoying good times." But despite missing out on a normal life, Mbappé states he is living the life he always dreamed of. Just over 4 years after making his professional debut, he had over 50 million followers on Instagram. As of 2023, he had over 100 million followers on Instagram. While he admits his life has been totally turned upside down since he first entered the spotlight, he says he is happy. He is fluent in French, English, and Spanish. During UEFA Euro 2024, Mbappé spoke at a press conference to tell the younger generation to vote against what he deemed extreme views in the 2024 French legislative election. In October 2024, authorities in Sweden launched a rape and sexual harassment investigation against Mbappé following a visit he made to the Swedish capital of Stockholm. On the 12th of December, less than 2 months later, the investigation was closed, with Swedish prosecutor Marina Chirikova citing insufficient evidence. Outside football media and sponsorship, Mbappé has a sponsorship deal with sportswear and equipment supplier Nike. In 2017, aged 18, he partnered with the brand to launch his own football boots, the Kylian Mbappé Nike Hypervenom 3. In 2018, he unveiled the Nike Mercurial Superfly V6 boots, which were inspired by the R9 Mercurial boots of former Brazilian striker Ronaldo. In 2018, Swiss watchmaker Hublot signed Mbappé as a global ambassador. In December 2021, Kylian Mbappé became a global ambassador for Dior, a partnership initially announced for a 2-year period and still ongoing as of 2025. And in June 2025, Dior's creative director Jonathan Anderson publicly highlighted Mbappé's role as the face of the brand's campaign and its summer 2026 collection teasers, describing him as the voice of a generation in the launch communications. Mbappé has featured in EA Sports' FIFA video game series. On FIFA 18, he had the highest potential rating of 94. His trademark goal celebration, posing with his arms folded and hands tucked under his armpits, was inspired by his younger brother Ethan, who would celebrate in this manner when beating Kylian at FIFA. The celebration was first inserted in FIFA 19. Mbappé featured as the cover star of FIFA 21, making him the youngest to appear on the cover solo. In 2023, he was included by Time among the 100 most influential people in the world. In the same year, he was ranked third in the Forbes list of the world's highest-paid athletes. Forbes subsequently ranked him 6th in 2024 and 16th in 2025. Sportico listed him as the 5th highest-paid athlete of 2023 and 9th highest-paid athlete of 2024. Philanthropy Mbappé, pictured receiving his FIFA World Cup Young Player Award next to Russian President Vladimir Putin and French President Emmanuel Macron, met with the French president in February 2018 to discuss a sports project in Africa. On the 22nd of February 2018, Mbappé was joined by former African strikers George Weah and Didier Drogba in a meeting with French President Emmanuel Macron and FIFA President Gianni Infantino at the Élysée Palace in Paris, which focused on a sports development project in Africa. Mbappé stated that the development of African sport is important to him due to his parents' African origins. On the 28th of January 2019, Mbappé donated $34,000, around £26,000, to a crowdfunding campaign to finance a private search mission to find football player Emiliano Sala, whose light aircraft had gone missing over the English Channel a week earlier. Later, on the 10th of February 2019, Mbappé donated a further £27,000 to the GoFundMe campaign created to fund the search for the plane's still missing pilot, David Ibbotson. On the 19th of November 2021, Mbappé and Chinese diver Zhang Zhaki became godfather and godmother, respectively, to 2 baby pandas at Beauval Zoo, as part of a campaign to raise awareness about the species. Investments. On the 30th of July 2024, investment firm Coalition Capital, a subsidiary of Mbappe's company Interconnected Ventures, acquired Oaktweed Capital Management's 80% stake in League Two club Caen for a reported €15 million. Honors Monaco, League One, 2016-17. Coupe de la Ligue runner-up, 2016-17. Paris Saint-Germain, League One, 2017-18, 2018-19, 2019-20, 2021-22, 2022-23, 2023-24. Coupe de France, 2017-18, 2019-20, 2021, 2023-24. Runner-up, 2018-19. Coupe de la Ligue, 2017-18, 2019-20. Trophée des Champions, 2019, 2020, 2023. UEFA Champions League runner-up, 2019-20 Real Madrid UEFA Super Cup, 2024 FIFA Intercontinental Cup, 2024 Copa del Rey runner-up, 2024-25 Supercopa de España runner-up, 2025-2026 France U19 UEFA European Under-19 Championship, 2016 France FIFA World Cup, 2018 runner-up 2022 UEFA Nations League, 2020-21 third place, 2024-25 individual UEFA European Under-19 Championship Team of the Tournament, 2016 League One Young Player of the Year, 2016-17, 2017-18, 2018-19 UNFP League One Team of the Year, 2016-17, 2017-18, 2018-19, 2020-21, 2021-22, 2022-23, 2023-24. UNFP League One Player of the Month, April 2017, March 2018, August 2018, February 2019, February 2021, August 2021, February 2022. November/December 2022, February 2023, October 2023, November 2023 La Liga Player of the Month. January 2025, September 2025, October 2025, UEFA Champions League Team of the Season. 2016-17, 2019-20, 2020-21, 2021-22. Golden Boy. 2017, FIFA World Cup Young Player Award. 2018, FIFA World Cup Dream Team. 2018, UEFA Team of the Year. 2018, Copa Trophy. 2018 League One Player of the Year. 2018-19, 2020-21, 2021-22, 2022-23, 2023-24. League One Top Goal Scorer. 2018-19, 2019-20, 2020-21, 2021-22, 2022-23, 2023-24. French Player of the Year. 2018, 2019, 2022-23, 2023-24. FIFA FIFPRO World 11 to 2018, 2019, 2020, 2023, 2024, 2025. IFFHS Men's World Team 2018, 2021, 2022, 2023. Ons de Bronze 2019. League One Top Assist Provider 2021. 2021 Globe Soccer Best Player of the Year. 2021-2024 UEFA Nations League Finals Golden Boot. 2021-2025 IFFHS World's Best Top Goal Scorer. 2022 FIFA World Cup Golden Boot. 2022 FIFA World Cup Silver Ball. 2022 ESM Team of the Year. 2022, 2023, 2023-24. UEFA Champions League Top Scorer. 2023-24. The Athletic European Men's Team of the Season. 2023-2024. The Athletic League One Team of the Season. 2023-24. The Athletic League One Player of the Season. 2023-24. Gerd Müller Trophy. 2024 shared UNFP Best French Player Playing Abroad. 2024-25 La Liga Team of the Season. 2024-25 Pichichi Trophy. 2024-25 European Golden Shoe. 2024-25 Real Madrid Player of the Season. 2024-25 Orders Knight of the Legion of Honor. 2018.